Now we start with breaking news from Hawaii, where in the past few minutes the number of people confirmed dead following the devastating wildfires has risen to 96. It's the worst US disaster of its kind in more than a century. 5 days after deadly wildfires hit, the US state of Hawaii search and recovery teams are still sifting through the remains. The state's Attorney General is conducting a comprehensive review into how the authorities responded. The military is part of the search for victims in the town of Lahaina, but so far only a tiny fraction of the affected area, less than 5%, has been searched. Hundreds of people are still unaccounted for, and authorities are expecting the death toll to rise significantly. Wildfires in the area are still burning, with firefighters working to bring them under control, and these pictures are from the US National Guard, which is providing assistance. Hawaiians are donating supplies to be sent to the worst affected areas, but Maui locals say much more help is needed. Hawaii's governor has given this update.
It is a harrowing sight in Maui. When those providers, the police and this division, do come across scenes in houses or businesses, is very difficult for them, because they know ultimately they will be sharing with our people that there have been more fatalities. I do expect the numbers to rise.
Well, let's get more now from our North America correspondent, Sophie Long, who is in Maui.
Well, it is now 5 days since Lahaina was engulfed in flames. The death toll now stands at 93, but we are told that that will rise. Over the past 5 days, we've heard countless tales, harrowing tales from survivors about their escape. And we've also watched frustration build with the authorities as people demand to know why they weren't given more warning and why they can't get back to their homes. But today I went to speak to some members of a congregation of a Lahaina church who were meeting some 20 miles away because their normal place of worship had been destroyed.
The fire left more than a city devastated and charred black buildings behind. Existential questions hover above the emptiness. How can you rebuild from this? What will exist here in the future? A now churchless congregation gathers at a coffee shop to share their pain.
One of the police officers sent me the pictures. There used to be my house. I wept. The weeping is not a lack of faith. Thank God that He gave us tears.
There are so many questions that remain without answers. Why did one survive to sit in a makeshift church when their neighbour didn't? What will become of their community so crippled by a loss that's still being counted?
I don't think it'll ever be the same. I hope it'll be better. Yeah. So that's my prayer, and I believe that. I think one day, it can be an even better Lahaina than it was, hopefully, and that's what I hope, at least. Yeah.
How do they explain to those too young to understand what their parents can't comprehend?
Children live in the moment most when they're young, and so you may have to explain it more than once with them. But just all you can do is just be straightforward. Tell them the fire took the house, and the terrible thing is that it's going to be hard, because the next fire, the next time they hear fire, that fear is going to come back.
We actually had one lady beating on our window, save me, save me.
These people may have lost their homes, but they haven't lost their hope.
We're going to build ourselves up, we're going to shake ourselves up, and we're going to keep going forward. We're not broken. The place might be for now, but, it won't stay that way.
And even the elderly with other places they could go will stay and rebuild.
Family on the mainland are trying to get me to move back. And my son told my daughter, he said, "You don't get it. Dad's going to die there." That's his home. It's our home. But we'll come back. We'll survive. We'll get through this.
They'll They'll tell their children that there has been mass death and destruction, but out of it came heroes and hope.
Well, that gives you the impression of just how heartbroken about what has happened here. Heartbroken about the loss of life that continues to climb, and also the loss of historic buildings in Lahaina. Now, the road, the only road really into Lahaina, has been opened today, but only to card-carrying residents. And there's been some criticism of that, because many people say that their identification is with the rest of their belongings lying in the ashes. But the authorities have been very clear about why they want to control access to the area, and that's because the recovery operation is still, even 5 days later, in its early stages. And the inferno that engulfed Lahaina was so fierce that the fear is that there could be remains that people could unknowingly disturb, and the authorities understandably, obviously, don't want that to happen. Now, President Biden said that people would be given immediate assistance, and we know that federal agencies are on the ground, but you speak to local people and they say they know that aid isn't getting in to the people who need it most. And I've spoken to a number of people who are taking it upon themselves, and Mauians are doing a lot of that. We've seen people who are using boats that would normally be used for tourists for whale watching. They're being used now to get supplies into Lahaina, and also people are trying to go in by road, and that's been one source of frustration. People who want to get supplies into their friends and family who've been out without power, without water, without food for several days now. So assistance is coming, and they have reassurances from the federal authorities and state authorities that they haven't been forgotten about. But certainly people do feel that it hasn't been quick enough. Now, another source of frustration is tourism. Hawaii obviously relies on tourism for its economy, but it's been very difficult for some local people, many of whom work in restaurants and hotels, who are seeing people who are here on holiday enjoying themselves when there are still so many people unaccounted for. Now, the authorities have urged people not to visit Maui at the moment. They're not saying don't come to Hawaii. They're saying please visit our other islands. And one of the reasons for that is they want to free up hotel rooms for some of the more than 4,000 people who've been made homeless by this disaster on an island where there was already a severe housing crisis. They want to keep hotel rooms free for them, and also for federal emergency workers, so they have somewhere to stay as well.